What's up, everyone? Thanks for tuning into my channel, Jace's Own World, and to another video. Today we're going to do a little install, and it's going to be regarding the bucking on the MK7 GTI. I know a lot of you have had this same situation on their car. I even read in the forums that there's another guy with just a regular Golf who's incorporated some bucking on his car recently, and nobody really still seems to know anything about it. So in this video, I'm going to actually be installing a new canister filter for the MK7 GTI, and I'll show you exactly where it's located, what you need to do. It's a very simple install, but I really do think that this is a part that has something to do with the bucking. If not, it is the issue. So you can buy this part separately. You don't have to buy the whole part, and I'll explain this in the video. So I will get right into this video right now, show you some installation processes, and go from there. All right, let's get right to that. All right, so I got all the wheels off the car. You don't need to take the front wheels or any other wheels back there. The only wheel you need to take off is the passenger rear wheel. And this is where your canister filter is going to be. So when you take the wheel off, as you can see here, let me zoom in here. You got your normal stuff, and then you got your liner, your fender wheel liner right here. You're gonna need to take off your fender wheel liner to access the part that we're gonna get to. So let's go ahead and get this fender wheel liner taken off right now, and then I'll show you exactly what the part you're gonna need to remove. So let's get this wheel fender liner removed right now. Okay, first things first is you're gonna have to remove all of these T25 screws right here that are holding the fender liner on. So let's go right and get to that part. And I think there's one under here too, so I need to go ahead and get that one. All right, I believe that's it. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 T25s that hold the fender liner on. So let's go ahead and remove the fender liner now. You're gonna have to pay attention to this part. This part is kind of just flimsy. And then this part tucks into this part right here, which is in the body. So you just take that part off, up it, and it comes right out. All right, so we got the fender liner off. Now let me show you what we're going after right now. This piece right here is the part we are after. And the canister filter is literally that piece right there. Now, I recommend, I'm sure there's a way to remove the canister filter by itself without removing this whole piece. But this whole piece is super easy to remove anyway, so you might as well just remove it. It's just a couple bolts. They're 13 millimeter. So let's go ahead and remove those and get this part out so I can access the canister filter to replace. That's it, just one 13 mil, which is really easy. Now from here, you can let it hang, disconnect, or something like that. It's up to you. I think I'm just gonna go let it just hang from there and disconnect the hose. There's a hose right here. It's hard to see. There we go. See that hose right there? Right there. Up on the top, there's a clamp that you can unclamp that hose, and then you'll just be able to remove this canister filter from its spot from these clips. So let's go ahead and do that. It might be hard to get on camera, but I'm just showing you exactly what you're supposed to do to remove that. I'm gonna do that, and if it comes on camera, that's cool. If not, too bad. I'll let you know that it's removed when it's done. Now I got the hose clamp off the hose, but I think I'm going to take a pick to the little thing right here that's holding the whole canister on, and then remove the canister from the hose, because I mean 178,000 miles on it. This thing is definitely old, and it's brittle, and I'm sure that the hose is going to take a little bit of oomph to remove from the actual canister, from its fitting. So I'm just going to do that, and then just, you know, twist it off, maybe get a little pick in there, spray it with some silicone or something like that, and get that off. So I'm going to do that right now. All right, just a little update. This clip, just take a little pick like this, just tiny little pick, and get them at Harbor Freight for a couple bucks, whole set of them. This was really easy to get off. So it's loose now, as you can see. Now I just need to get this hose right here off of this canister, fuel charcoal canister, and then the whole canister is removed, and then I'm just going to replace it. So this part, I don't want to like cut into it or anything like that, because I'm sure the hose is pretty brittle. So I'm going to get some silicone spray, spray it on there, let it penetrate for a minute or two, and then take it off. That's how I'm going to do it. All right, guys, so I got it off. Here it is right here. That was literally a lot easier than I thought it was going to be. I just sprayed it with some of this Blaster dry lube right here. That's my silicone spray that I like to use. Just, you know, sprayed it up on the where it connected to the canister filter, and I literally was able to twist it right off with my left hand, and my left hand is really weak, so it was very, 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 very simple. So now we're just going to clean things up, get my new one. I'll show you that right now. I'll put the part number in the description and install it, and we'll go from there. Here is the new canister filter that I bought from ECS Tuning. Looks exactly like the old one. Set them side by side here. Exactly like the old one. This is just the spray that I just sprayed. So yours is not going to look like that. But yeah, looks exactly like it. Side by side, same exact part. So let me show you the part number here. Part number is 1C0-906-621-A. That is the part number for this part. I will also put that in the description, as well as the link that I bought it off ECS Tuning from. It's a really cheap part, really, really, really cheap. So let's get installing this part back on and buttoning it all back up. All right, off camera, I installed it. I installed the clamp up here, making sure that it's in its original spot, and also oriented so that these two prongs are accessible if I ever need to access them again. They're not like too far back there, not too far in there. They're just perfect. And then this spot on the back, there's a little tab that goes inside this right here. The tab, you can see, let me get the old one here. So this tab on the back, this part right here, slides into that spot on the back right there, slides in there. And then this spot right here, so there's that slide right there, and then on this side there's a little hole right here, and that hole is for this little dimple to go through. So you slide that in first, coming back towards the back of the car, slide it in, then it will set itself in the back, and then you just press this down, this little dimple will line up, these two tabs right here will snatch onto it, and it's not going anywhere. So that's how you install the canister filter on your Mark 7 GTI. So now all we have to do is put this back into place, which I'll show on camera. Make sure that all these lines, this is like a overfill line right here that drops down here. So if you overfill your gas, it's going to come down and drip down here. That's what that is for. And then I'll just put this up in its brackets. You'll feel the brackets. Then I'll put that 13 millimeter in, install that. Then I'll put the fender liner in there and the wheel back on, and you're all good to go. So let's get right to that. Now you don't need to torque this down. I don't know the torque spec for this bolt, but you don't need to do it super tight. Just tight enough so that it doesn't get loose. That's it. And as far as installing this part right here, there's a little bracket that is welded onto the body of the car behind this, and it has a little, so if this is the bracket right here, let's say this is the bracket, okay, that's welded on to the body of the car. On the back of this, there's a little tab that's like this, and you're going to slide that tab up into the bracket. That keeps this whole part attached to the body. Once that is slid up into that bracket, then it's going to be easy peasy. This hole is going to line up exactly, and then there's a little little part on the end, on the back side of this as well, that goes into the body, a little hole that it's just a centering piece. And so once you get that centered in there, then it will line up with the bolt, and then you just put the one bolt in, the 13 millimeter, and it's set. It's not going to go anywhere. It's nowhere. All right. So this hose right here, like I explained before, is just a little gas runoff hose, and you're gonna make sure that when you put the fender liner back in here, that this is gonna sit behind the fender liner, and it's just gonna basically come like that, poking out right there. So make sure that's it, and then all you got to do is install the fender liner, and you're good to go. So let's get right to installing the fender liner and then button up this video. All right, that is it, guys. That is the installation of the fuel charcoal canister. All right, just a final part to this video, and I'm just gonna do a quick explanation as to why I decided to replace the fuel charcoal canister on the Mark 7 GTI. And the reason, the number one reason, is because I've been having bucking sensations on this car, as I explained vaguely in the beginning of this video. If you go back and watch some of my previous videos that have a title called bucking in it, I have a bunch of those videos, and this bucking sensation on my Mark 7 GTI has been happening for probably 2.5, 3 years, even though my car is seized. It has a seized motor right now, and it's been like that since like last September or so. But previous to that, for like 2.5, almost 3 years, the car has been bucking. The car drives normal, like at regular speeds. In any gear, it drives normal. If you floor it, it drives perfectly fine. Boost just fine. AFRs are right on. But for some reason, when I would just be cruising in any gear, and especially if I'm in cruise control mode, I'll be cruising in any gear, and if I am going very, very light throttle at a very low RPM, say like 1800 or below, or even 2000 sometimes, but like basically you're not in boost and you're just kind of cruising, the car will like do this bucking thing, like really intermittently and randomly. And so long story short, done a ton of things on this car to figure it out, and none of them have worked except unplugging certain sensors that seem to make the bucking sensation go away, which is weird. The thing that sucks about unplugging those sensors is the car throws a CEL light, check engine light, so you're gonna have to live with that if you unplug those sensors, but the car will drive better on those light throttle situations. Well, after a lot of research and talking with a lot of different people and a lot of other people having the same situation on their Mark 7 GTIs, and not just GTIs, but Rs and regular Golfs, and it just seems to be more prevalent in the Mark 7, Mark 7.5 generation. So I don't know if it's going to happen in any other generations of VWs, but nobody has been really able to figure it out except for a couple people, but their symptoms were a little different, I guess. But they went and replaced the whole system, not just the fuel charcoal canister. They replaced that whole system, which is like hundreds and hundreds of dollars. The charcoal canister is like $10 to $20 or something like that. I don't know. I don't remember what it is, but it's cheap. But everything was pointed out to the fuel charcoal canister. You don't need to replace that whole unit, just the fuel charcoal canister. So that's why I did it. And for as cheap as it is, might as well replace it. It's a simple install as you saw in this video. So if you're having this sensation, or even if you're not, I would highly recommend replacing it anyways, because we've had some recalls with the fuel system with this car regarding the suction jet pump and stuff, and all of that stuff is related. Like all the fuel stuff, all of that is in relation with one another. If any of those parts stop working, whether they're from the gas cap to the lines in the gas filler to the gas tank to the charcoal canister to the lines to the fuel pumps, any of that goes wrong, then something's going to happen. They're all related. So for as cheap as this part is, you might as well replace it, because who knows, you might get that bucking sensation, you might not, but if you do, then you probably want to replace it anyways. And so I wanted to make this video and just give some light onto that, and hoping, obviously I won't be able to start my car or anything because the engine is seized, and so that kind of sucks. And because I really want to see if it bucks or not now that I just replaced that. But either way, it's a simple install, cheap part, and you might as well do it. So if that improves anything in the fuel system, then it's a win-win in my situation. So yeah, that's the end of this video. Sorry, I've been rambling a little bit, but I wanted to explain that for a lot of you who are new to this channel and who haven't really seen those videos. I wanted to explain what was happening with my Mark 7 GTI over here, all right? So I have a bunch more things to do. I'm going to be taking off a lot of parts because I'm going to be swapping my motor for another motor. So I'm just going to be doing some knickknacks here and there, taking some stuff off so that when the time comes to swap that motor, then it's going to be a lot easier and not as time consuming. So I'm going to get right to that. But as far as this video is concerned, this is the end of the video. Thank you for all of you who are watching, commenting, liking, disliking, and sharing this video. Please subscribe if you haven't, and if you like my videos, all right? Thanks again, guys, and until the next video, peace.